I just did a message where the message came out that someone was being propositioned, okay? Their moral compass was being tested. And I just came across my own reading on the FYP. And so I began to think, because that's what I do. But as I watched my own message, confirmation 3.14 is the number I'm looking at. So as I give this message, the screen name Zora Zora, and that's literally giving me fraternity. But anyway, and I was so hoping this is not what it came to, but this could be a general message for anyone and resonate with someone specific, one-on-one, as I say that. That message was about certain elite class people propositioning those who they deem profitable, okay? And now I will say, the most creative, intelligent, prosperous, attractive, magnetic beings come from some grimy places, okay? Confirmation if you heard that horn honk. Because those energies, they tend to get it by any means. Like they can really come up out the mud, okay? And just do things in a different way. That tenacity, that drive, that resilience, I want to say. And a lot of them are very, very talented. And they will draw in a crowd. Crowds equal energy. Crowds equal frequency, high frequency, 222 as I say that. And so there are those scouts who watch these energies, who can draw in this magnetic energy. And once they begin to see you profit some type of way on your own, then they come to sponsor you in some type of way. So, with that being said, I warned a particular person about being involved with these type of brotherhoods, let's just say. Secret societies. And I said it will get to the point to where they want to be repaid, which means sponsoring someone else under you, okay? If you try to back out of, because you will have to sign a contract, if you try to back out of that sponsorship contract, which means you have to turn over another individual to them. If you do not comply, okay, they will return you to the position you came from by any means. Meaning that if you have got it out the mud and came up to some type of status in society, okay, with their help along the way, with them leading you along the way, and you sign this contract, then they'll make you a deal. Go back to where you came from, or stay at your level of status and continue to climb and continue to essentially belong to us, okay? Now, why are these type of people who are very much so talented by their own right, by their own will, by their own initiative, why are those type of people targeted? Because they possess some high capability to produce. We'll say that. But like I said, once you sign over your integrity, your dignity, you essentially no longer exist. Not in the way you would normally exist. So therefore, you are no longer your own person. Okay? Energetically, whatever you do in life to produce that energy, that frequency, money, currency, okay? It's no longer your own. It belongs to them, whoever you signed a contract with. And that goes in many different ways, shapes, and forms, okay? It is the soul, 555 as I say that, you should be loyal to, okay? Now, and if you can hear that revving engine, that's your confirmation. When you don't comply, like I said, they'll begin to remove things from your life to take you down a peg until you comply. What that may be is at their own discretion. But that's why I try to warn people before they get into these things and sign contracts and deeper into these things. Remove yourself. Status is not important when you are not your own person, okay? 648 on the timer and 648 on the clock, and they both turn to 649 at the same time. That is significant energy. You have the power to control and change and maneuver your own frequency. Why would you sign yourself over to someone to do that? You do not have to exist under an umbrella of someone else. When you have your own mind, ability, creativity, why do you sign it over to someone else? Okay? It's a big message. Because those who don't like to toil and labor for themselves get people to sign a contract that will have them toiling and laboring for them for what could be lifetimes, okay? So with that being said, anything can be taken once you don't comply. But if you don't comply in the first place, you have a stronger chance of getting out alive, is what I want to say. And at the point to where I was given a contract, I tore it up, okay? I told this story before on YouTube. Someone placed something inside of a locked mailbox for me, okay? And once I figured out what it was and what was going on, I tore it up. They came to me at my most vulnerable moment in life, okay? And that's how they pray and scout out people, because they know who has abilities and capabilities, okay? And your mind is your greatest asset and weapon. So a lot of people need to understand that, okay? So with that being said, no matter how long it takes you to get to the top on your own. This is your message. Thank you for receiving your message, and take care.